Welcome back everybody to Cobra Education. Um, this is live. We're going to be looking at Solidity today. In previous episodes, we've covered, intro to blockchain, and then we're going to be covering trading as well. Today, we're going to be taking a look at how you can effectively start to create things in the world of DeFi, right? With the Cobra educational content that we have on our Discord right up here. First channel you see, education. We've got, we want to educate you on what this world is, how you can influence it, how you can create decentralized applications and programs and code smart contracts. And we want to teach you how to make money as well for sort of trading guide. So what we're going to cover today is effectively just an intro into what Solidity is. Right? What is it? It's a cool sounding word. Okay, you know it has something to do with Ethereum. But what makes it? What do these words mean? What is a high level language? Right? People say Solidity is object oriented. What does that mean? We'll get into all of this stuff. So I do want to kind of remind you guys to take a look at this educational section. Do follow us on Twitter. Drop a like and a comment. If you have any questions based off of this episode, do put them in the comments and we'll address them the next time around. So yeah, boom, let's get right into it, guys. Solidity is a pristine programming language formulated explicitly for developing smart contracts for the Ethereum blockchain. The relatively new language has gained a significant role under Ethereum's contracts framework, which is of great importance in blockchain technology. In fact, you'll be required to learn the language in order to code Ethereum dApps, decentralized applications. So like I said, blockchain technology, this specific language, what it does is it allows you to create effectively programs, right? Programs that run on smart contract. It's not purely just a token goes here, transaction occurs. It's not purely that. There's tons of use cases, right? You could apply this to voting. You could apply this to logistics, right? You could apply this to like a customer, like a CRM, right? Customer relations management system or something. You could apply this to payroll, right? Because a smart contract is effectively the execution of code according to pre-specified conditions, which you type out in this language. In the language which is Solidity. Effectively, the basics are, it's a high-level language, which sets it apart from more basic or low-level languages. You could argue that low-level languages give you much more utility. They're just much harder to use. Higher level might make it sound like Solidity is more complicated. It is absolutely the opposite of that, right? High level effectively means that a language makes itself seem simpler to the coder. It's when you kind of have an element of like a user interface. It started with compilers, right? Way back in the day. The first compiler was really the first example of a high level component, right? So I hope that makes sense. High level effectively means you're using words. You're talking to the computer, and it's hiding a lot of the computation, a lot of the raw, boring stuff from you. So it's not just beep, beep, boop, zeros and ones, green matrix code. It's words. We'll get into this in detail, and we'll show you guys smart contracts. We'll show you how to write them. And if you take a look at a exemplary smart contract, you're barely going to see any numbers. What is it you might see? You might see like the decimal points. You might like declare how many decimals, or put in like account numbers and stuff like that. But apart from that, it's mostly just words, and it's very simple, and there's sort of a flow to it, which you get into. But that's kind of like me going off on a tangent. I hope the high level thing makes sense. The next thing you should know about Solidity is that it is an object-oriented language. It's object-oriented. What does that mean? Right? It means that it effectively uses, it ties variables and sort of, what's the word? It ties like adjectives, effectively, to components of code which then, it's in sort of direct contrast to other types of languages, which are not object oriented. You could have like an array oriented language, for example, which is a whole other can of worms in it, and it's not as simple as a language that's object oriented. Effectively, like I said, this language lets you code and write and then deploy or implement smart contracts on a blockchain. Most prevalently so far, Solidity has been used for Ethereum. It was actually proposed by Gavin Woods in like, I think it was like 2014 or something like that. I think, yeah, or 2015, 2014, around then. He basically kind of came up with this idea, and then the Ethereum people, basically, I think it was like Christian Reitweisner. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of that name, but I think it was him and the Solidity team on Ethereum that effectively turned this into like a proper language that people could use. Influenced very, very largely by like older, or well, not even older, but just languages like C++, like Python, and JavaScript massively, which also means that Solidity, even though it's like this new technology, blockchain technology, actually coding it is so simple. If you've done pretty much any JavaScript or it uses effectively, there's this thing called ES, guys. There's this thing called ES, right? Which is the Ecma script. It's like a standard it's like a JavaScript standard. And the whole point of this is effectively to build web pages and have them be interoperable across different browsers and stuff like that. So it's the language of the internet, kind of. That's a major oversimplification, but that is effectively what it is. So if you had any experience with that type of coding, Solidity is going to come so easy to you. It really, really is. It's also, I mentioned the object-oriented thing. Solidity is also a statically typed language, and what that means is it effectively, it's one of these languages that gives you so much utility. When something is statically typed, what that means is you effectively check the type variables. You check things on the actual text of the smart contract, of the code, versus a dynamically typed system is one that does it during runtime. So it's effectively checking while the system is running. So for bug fixes, it could be good, but also this gives you some buffer time and some buffer space to bomb-proof your smart contracts, to make sure, and you can test them. You can run tests and stuff like that on. There's programs like Truffle, which give you test nets that you can deploy your smart contracts to before you actually put them on like a mainnet, the live sort of Ethereum blockchain. In short, it's honestly just a really simple language that only requires a very basic understanding of how computers work, how a programming language works, and it's very intuitive. It's very intuitive. It supports, there's this thing called inheritance, which it supports, where you don't have to, it's like it's built for people to mass adopt. It feels like it's built for this. It has this thing called inheritance, whereby once you've declared something, it'll basically run back and backtest and check for you that you've already declared something, and you don't need to keep declaring it every time it comes into play, right? So let's say you name something, you name your token, you say const name, and then you don't have to say it again. That's the beauty of Solidity. This is what high level means. It means that a lot of the back end functionality is handled and you don't need to worry about it, right? That's effectively what Solidity is. I hope that's created some interest for you guys, because honestly, very simple language. Now think about the things you can do, right? What this allows you to do is apply the concept of a blockchain to anything. You have a business idea, boom, blockchain it, turn it DeFi, right? You have like I said, voting, payroll, check in, check out, like whatever it is, like you know, you're checking yourself into and out of a hotel, like, great, fantastic. That guest management, info management system, that could be run on smart contracts, right? And it makes sense that the developers created this language with the aim to showcase the real potential of the system of smart contracts in the realm of digital exchanges. And it doesn't have to be just an exchange of a currency. You know, a digital exchange, a transaction can mean so much, right? So much more than just money go, service come. Like, it doesn't have to be just that. But yes, that's just a little bit of a taster, guys. Let's just breeze through this. So all of this is organized for you, all the information per section, in the education guide. Like I said, Solidity introduction, just click education, click Solidity, and then each topic, you just click right here, and it'll take you to the next topic. Let's see if there's anything I haven't covered here. Ethereum virtual machine. Again, remember that thing about all of this will be covered really in depth in the coming episodes. So I don't want to inundate you guys with a bunch of information for the first sort of foray into Solidity as well. But we'll get into what this means. It effectively, it's a virtual machine instead of the main, sort of mainnet type thing. Developing decentralized applications, or dApps, in every sector. Yep, makes sense. And with the prerequisites, honestly, I mean, basic understanding of blockchain technology and its related platforms, these help. You know, basic knowledge of programming, it helps. But this is all things you can learn very easily, because, like I said before, this is a language that was built from the ground up by a person who had the express aim of breaking down barriers to knowledge and to information, and to ability, to empowerment through technology and stuff like that. So literally, give it a quick read. You know, read through. We will cover, like I said, in detail all of these things. Next time we'll cover smart contracts in depth, the idea of what it is, how it works, you know, everything you need to know, and we'll get real hands-on with it as well. But yes, I think that brings us to the close of a quick sort of intro to Solidity. Bunch of information, but I hope that it wasn't too much to digest. Like I said, any questions, do feel free to drop a comment. If you have any suggestions for the next episode or anything like that, feel free to drop a comment as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click like on the video if you liked the video. If you didn't, click like anyway. Like, who's gonna know? Like, it's not that deep, you know, it's not that deep at all. And yeah, this has been me. This has been Brooklyn for the Crypto Cobras. I'm gonna love you and leave you. Yeah, ciao, Brooklyn out, man.